And we're live. For those of you watching on YouTube, a little disclaimer that I've been doing at the beginning of these. This is a live recording. You're getting the behind the scenes look before I try to work my magic and polish up the turd in editing. Granted, with the guests, especially guests as awesome as Teresa, it's not really a turd. It's more like polishing a diamond at that point. But
Did you just call me a
but
turd?
this is the pre-edited live experience. The regular full show will be released at Thursday or Friday. This is Wednesday, and I've had a very busy week, so it might be just a little bit late. And you'll be able to find that at atheistnomads.com/56. And so now that part's done, we can do the actual podcast interview start. Joining us now is Teresa MacBain. Teresa was last on the show for episode 3. She was actually our second ever guest, and we were very pleased to have her back. Teresa, welcome back to Atheist Nomads.
Thank you. I'm so glad you guys have had me back. I had a lot of fun last time, and if I was on episode 3 and the second guest, that means I'm old, right? Because you're at 56 now? Yeah, so, okay, let's just keep that a secret. I'm not really old.
Well,
No,
the compliments
no.
are appreciated. The check's in the mail.
Yeah, no coloring of hair because of gray. That's not why I do it. I promise.
Oh.
I know. You can't take me anywhere. It's just the truth.
Well, anyways, oh goodness. Yeah, right. You are one of the awesomest people out there, so I'm not even buying that. I remember you at Reason Fest about a year ago. That was amazing times.
We got lost in the garage, didn't we?
Yeah. Oh,
Now, there
That
were more
sounds-
people than just Wesley and I, but yeah, with Amanda Brown and
oh yeah.
David
Dr. Daryl
Fitzgerald?
Ray.
Yeah,
David Fitzgerald was out there.
and Greta, I think.
Yeah, Greta, Nate
Yeah.
Phelps was there, but he didn't stay very long. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was an amazing time.
It
Best
was a lot of fun.
$300 I ever spent.
Yeah, it was really good.
So, Teresa, for our listeners who haven't gone back and listened to our very, very rough early episodes, because episode 3, we had no idea what we were doing
Oh,
at all. It's one of those episodes. I do not encourage anybody to go back and listen to it because we were clueless, absolutely clueless.
Yeah.
It was maybe barely a beta test release at that point, and that's even stretching it. So, yes,
Yeah.
I do not necessarily recommend going back. So, could you give us like the Cliff Notes version of?
tell us your whole life.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, let's see. I was born.
Hmm.
How that happened, I'm not sure. I know my parents were involved. And I was a baby, and I ate baby food, and I pooped in my diapers, or so I'm told. Honestly, I really don't think if I did poop, it didn't stink, but that's just me. No, seriously. I grew up in actually the town where I'm living now in North Alabama, deep in the heart of Bible country. And I had a dad who was a pastor, and he was eventually Southern Baptist, but at the very, very beginnings, we were very fundamentalist, not quite independent, but in these parts it was called Missionary Baptist, which
Yeah.
is unique. I know that there's an African American denomination known as Missionary Baptist. Well, that wasn't it. This area is very much prejudiced, so it wouldn't have been, any kind of church like that. But Dad was extremely strict and very, very much King James only, Bible-based, literal interpretation, and that was the environment that I grew up in, and I loved it. Of course, I didn't know any different because everybody around us in this small town and community were that way, and sometimes preachers' kids will go either wild or just like their parents, and maybe even a little bit further out to the extreme. And so I was the second one. I was the one following my dad around, and as a little kid, And if you've seen my talk, I have a little red Gideon's Bible, which I don't, it's somewhere around here. But I got that Bible. I would carry it to school. I would try to witness to people. For any who are not religious, that means trying to convert you to Christianity. I would go with my dad. I would beg him to go on visits when he would go knock on people's doors and try to, convert them as well. Go to hospital visits, just anything and everything that I could do. When he was in Bible college in Florida, I couldn't go to class with him because I was in school myself, but we lived there in the family housing on campus, and the professors lived nearby, and I would go talk to them. I would pick their brains. I would read my dad's textbooks, systematic theology at 10 years old. Yeah, every kid should do this. It was crazy. And, and it was, of course, our brand of systematic theology. Everybody has their own brand. But, so, yeah, I'm just going on about this point just to show how deeply entrenched and embedded this idea and ideology was in me. And so as soon as I was old enough, probably 6th grade, I started finding positions in ministry as a young girl, either doing children's church or even nursery. I was pleased to do nursery because I was just serving God,
Teresa, I hate to ask, but about what year was that?
Yeah, you're trying to find out how old I am. I know what you're doing.
Just a bit.
That would be, dang it, now I have to do math too. You guys are terrible. 1979.
Okay.
Yeah. 1979. So yeah, 1979, I remember vividly the church we were in. They pulled me out of the children's church that was for 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I don't remember the name of it, and said, hey, you're much too gifted for this, so we want you to go and teach in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 4th grade. I think it was 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So the 1st through 4th grade children's church. So that was my first taste of being a minister. Of course, I was a girl, so I wasn't a minister, and I was, a Baptist church. But yeah, by the time I graduated high school, I was leading worship in our choir director in my dad's church, and then from there it was just, I knew that from the time I was about 6 that I had been called to be a pastor, an actual pulpit pastor, but there wasn't an opportunity for women at all. When I told my dad at 6 that when I grew up that I felt like God wanted me to be a pastor just like him, he quickly corrected me and said, no. You can't do that because girls aren't allowed. You can be a missionary. You can go overseas and preach to these savages, but you can't preach to civilized Western Americans. You can't do that. So, that really started, in a way, it started for me kind of a confusion as to my own value, really. We'll get to the point of probably of what happened last year when I was at Harvard and my world kind of crumbled down around me. But over the past 9-10 months since that happened, I've had to really do some serious digging to find out why it happened so that I could figure it out, because that just wasn't me and isn't me. And one of the things I uncovered was that moment when I was 6, and I went to my dad and said, hey, I feel like God has called me to be in ministry, to be a pastor, and I'm told girls aren't allowed to do that. Well, the takeaway message internally, emotionally for me was a beginning of a devaluing. And it fits perfectly in the religious tradition I was raised, where women are always on a lower level. We were Eve. We ate the apple. We tempted Adam. Without us, he wouldn't have fallen, or so it's told. And the only way we can be saved is through childbirth, the pain of childbirth. And I'm generalizing that a lot. I know that that's not what everybody believes, but that's the message that children, young children, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, when they hear those things, that's what they take in, and what begins to shape them And eventually, if it's continued, will produce, you know, different types of behaviors as adults. And so at 6, that was my first taste of, you're not good enough, you know, you're not valuable. God doesn't love you as much as if you were born a boy. You know, he loves your brother more than he does you. Of course, it wasn't said verbally, but, you know, you guys understand, and I'm sure the listeners understand, and probably have heard similar things and taken away similar messages. So, you know, skipping away from that back to adulthood, I've left home now. I've gotten married to a guy who's in the military, and we're starting a family, and of course we always are in church, and I'm always very quickly selected to work in some type of ministry area. And I could just list oodles and oodles and oodles of appropriate, approved women ministry areas. And I was okay with it. Here's the thing. At one point in my life, I was proud of the fact that I was a submissive Proverbs 31 woman. Now, I'm not going to go into Proverbs 31 if your listeners are hearing and they're like, what is that? Look it up. It's in the Bible, you know, Psalms, Proverbs, chapter 31. But yeah, I was submissive. I believed at that point that I was created lower than my husband, than men, and that in order for me to be godly and be pleasing to God, I would be in submission, you know, take that inferior role. So you can just see how that little thread of poison, I guess, just made its way in. But at the same time, while all that's going on, as our kids start to grow up and I continue thinking, consciously, maybe not consciously, who knows, this rebellious part of me continues to say, you know, I got to have answers. Well, I wasn't really consciously saying that I need to have these answers, but I think somewhere in my mind, it just kept working on the problems. And if you know me and you've met me, you know that my brain never stops. You know, my mouth never stops, but my brain never stops too. So I convinced myself in, I'll give you the date, Wesley, if I can think of it, probably 92 or 93, because my youngest son was probably three years old or so. I remember we were living in Virginia Beach. We were in military housing, and I was stay at home. We had 2 kids at the time, and my job didn't pay enough for me to commute and pay child care for a son, you know, 1-year-old and 2-year-old. So I can remember taking the Baptist Faith and Message, which was a little booklet that contained all the scriptures and all the doctrines and all the beliefs and teachings of the Baptist Church, and going and buying a New International Version Bible. See, I'm taking a big step. It was King James only for a long time. And going through and making notes of what I agree with, what doesn't make sense to me, and, you know, trying to deal with it. And at that point, I know that there were things that came up that just were just wrong, contradictory, weird, you know, but I could justify it, I could rationalize it away, and by saying, you know, God's bigger than me, his ways are higher than my ways, and faith is where I will accept these kinds of things. So I shut it all down at this point, which is not the first time. If you've heard my talk, there were some other times when I was a teenager, but I won't go into that now. You just have to Google YouTube and you'll find it. It's there somewhere. But you know, as I continue to go through that, we leave that area in Virginia and move again. And at this point, we visited a church that was a Baptist church, and it, for whatever reason, it just didn't click. So we went to a non-denominational church. Now, looking back, I can see why. I was beginning to move out of that extremely fundamentalist, creation is the only way. Yeah, not only creation, young earth creationist. Please don't, no booze, no hisses. And as I was moving away from it without even knowing it, I was moving away from it without even knowing it, into a fairly conservative non-denominational church where I was allowed to do a little bit more. And then this continued. I won't belabor the whole point, but eventually I wound up in a church that was non-denominational, and they actually let women serve in ministry, which I jumped on. Now, of course, I had to go through my little steps, and I did the things that were required, which included, prison ministry and nursing home ministry and homeless ministry and a feeding program and women's ministries, and preached at women's conferences and did revivals and, just all these different kinds of things. I was also working in a group called Celebrate Recovery. It's a 12-step group, just like AA, but it is completely Christ-centered. That's where Rick Warren's church is, where this comes out of. And they started... Go ahead.
For those who think that AA isn't religious enough.
Right, yeah. Well, it's, in Alcoholics Anonymous, they address the fact, that we believe in a higher power and that this power greater than ourselves is able to help us recover. With Celebrate Recovery, they spell it out, that it is through Jesus, through this relationship with Christ. So the steps are pretty much the same. They're just brought in a little bit more so that they focus centrally on Christ, and then they attach actual scripture verses with it. And that was in a Methodist church. It was there I met a lady, a wonderful lady, actually, still a friend of mine. And she was just really, she was unique. Now, I know that she was just very much interested in helping people, and that was why she was a part of the Celebrate Recovery. And she was going through her ministry track as well within the Methodist Church. So we became friends, and we started having conversations about my own frustration in ministry of, one, it's still a good old boys club, and I happened to not be a boy, so that was a problem. But in a lot of cases, at least within the realm that I was in, women were given certain and specific roles, and men were given the other roles that were better. That's not the right way to say it, but that's all I can think of right now. And the focus was a lot of times more on what happened inside the church and less on going out and helping people who are really hurting. The theology went something like, if you preach it, they will come. Well, my attitude was a little bit opposite of that. If I'm going to try and help somebody whose house is just burned down, I don't need to just pray for them and preach a sermon about it. I actually need to go to their house and help them clean up the mess, find them some clothes, give them a place to stay if they need it. And that wasn't the experience I was having. I was getting a lot of kickback from churches because they wanted more of the other and less of the service oriented. Well, this lady, she wasn't like that. I mean, she was just so much interested in people and meeting them, church phrase, people from church will know this, meeting them, where they were, where their needs are. And that got me interested in the Methodist Church and John Wesley, and eventually I transferred in to the Methodist Church as a pastor, and really enjoyed myself. I mean, I finally had a place to where I could preach, and at the same time I could start an English as a second language course, for a huge migrant community, or we could do a feeding ministry that didn't just invite them to dinner, but we took food every month and gave substantial food to people. But the problem was when I came into the Methodist Church, they didn't, they require some essential core tenets, but then they encourage the people who are there, ministry on down, to think, to explore. They don't have a literal interpretation of the Bible. They don't have the belief in that. Well, that was trouble for me because I took it to heart and just really jumped in with both feet. I did, and I knew I was becoming more liberal. I figured, okay, finally I'm understanding myself and what my theology is and what I was created to do by God, and I'm matured in my faith away from that of my parents. Well, actually, I was maturing and maturing and maturing and matured my way right on out the door. Um, you know, it was one of the most scary times of my life as it was coming to an end. I knew for a long time I was having questions and I was having doubts, and I could finally explore it. I was preaching sermons about how healthy it was to doubt, and giving examples from the Bible, and I didn't realize that it was taking me much further down a road that I really didn't even know I was on, actually. In 2011, I think the beginning of the year, I was absolutely depressed and tormented within myself, because not only had I moved into Methodism, which is kind of moderate to liberal, depending on where you are, moved into the far more liberal sense of it, to the point to where I'm saying, okay, I'm now progressive, and I'm identifying with people like Brian McLaren or Rob Bell or some of those that are just kind of way out there, to the point to where I've even actually stepped a little bit further away from that. Now, looking back, I think I had gone further than I would let myself believe at that point. It's hard to know, because I was fighting with myself so much. I mean, I was literally tormented in myself, convincing myself the majority of the time that this is something that God is allowing in my life so that I can be that much stronger. And that when I've come through this fire, this trial, I'll be able to actually reach out to people who are struggling themselves and bring them back into the fold. It kind of worked the opposite way. Because now, after I came out, the last 2 years since the convention when I stood up and proclaimed, my name is Teresa MacBain and I'm an atheist, I've been able to help so many people who, questioned, doubted, and now are either still in the closet or just coming out and dealing with the after effects of that. So in a way, I guess I was right. I was going to be able to help people in dealing with their doubts and their questions and their struggles. But at the time, I thought it would be the other side of the fence. That time from January till about July was really, really hard. I convinced myself of certain different things. I started to see, of course, the Bible had been an issue for me for a long time, and at that point, I hadn't chucked the Bible out the window, but for the most part, maybe I had something similar to the Jefferson Bible left. I don't know. I still could buy into the moral teachings of Christ, and that was my mantra. And that's what I preached on, when he did the good deeds, when he fed the 5,000, when he washed the feet, when he touched the lepers, those were my key texts, and real life application kind of sermons. And strangely, that was when, pastors aren't supposed to keep up with, how much people like their stuff or not, but those were the ones that people liked the best. I would get the most people talking about it, and they were very humanist in their application, I think.
That actually sounds pretty cool, though. I mean, you're actually giving them something that is more worthwhile, something that they can actually chew on, and not just be told to digest it and get whacked over the head with it.
Yeah. I mean, up until, I don't know exactly what time frame, but in the higher churches, they have what's called the Lectionary. And the Lectionary is a calendar, and it has scriptures that you're supposed to choose to preach from: an Old Testament, New Testament, one of the Psalms, Proverbs, and then a gospel. And in a higher church, more, they will have each of those readings read every Sunday, and then the pastor preaches from either Old Testament, New Testament, or gospel. Well, I had completely chucked that all out the window. And it was working. I mean, it was really working. That's the thing. But for me, it just confirms that people really are just whether religious or not, they're looking for something they can sink their teeth into and take out the door and say, okay, so I'm allowed to question, and this is what the pastor said, and so how does this fit in with my life? Something to really think about besides just the stories of this person or that person who did this or that. And I'm trying to put all the dates and times together. So it's such a blur to me. Folks will ask me, well, when was that one moment? Well, I don't know. I really fought hard. And I fought hard not to be an atheist. I didn't really know up until the end that that's where I was heading, but I fought really hard to be this strong, mature, wise Christian pastor who had been through difficult, horrible trials and made it through to the other side. But the more I fought with myself, the more I would read and study, and the more I would realize, little bit by little bit, it's like knocking bricks out of a wall. Eventually, there's a huge hole and you can see through to the other side. And it just dawns on you all of a sudden, oh crap, this is really where I'm at. How did this happen? How could this be me? And if you'd asked me as a kid, a teenager, a young adult, a young mom and parent, parent of preteen boys, even teen boys, if this would be my story, I would have, well, I wouldn't have cussed you out, obviously, but I'd have blessed you out. That's the southern term for it. I'd have blessed you out.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah,
Oh,
bless
God.
it. No, I should have made you some sweet tea. Y'all would have liked it. You should hear me. You should hear me. They pick on me here because they say, "Oh, you've been up north too long. You talk like a Yankee." Well, yeah, I really don't, but God, I wish you could hear it. Anyway, not picking on Southerners. I am Southern, but
Don't worry, you still got some twang.
oh, honey, I know it. Let me have a few more glasses of wine, and then you'll really hear it.
No. All right.
But back to the story. Chasing rabbits. It all came to a head early or late in 2011. I moved out of reading only biblical Christian-oriented texts to reading, I read Bart Ehrman, Richard Carrier. I didn't read Dawkins right away, which is probably a good thing. I know some people will probably go, how could you say that? But I think it would have been too much too soon, if you know what I'm saying. I think I had to be led along with baby steps.
It would have presented you something to fight against.
Yeah,
It could have pushed you the
exactly.
other direction.
Exactly. It's like, parents saying, don't you dare listen to that rock and roll music. Well, what the heck am I going to do? I'm going to listen to rock and roll music when you're not watching. So yeah, I just kind of progressed through that, and I believe it was July, may have been August. I'd have to look at my emails. I got desperate one day and went to my computer and just typed in a search, pastors who feel like they've lost or losing their faith. And Dan Barker came up, our good old buddy Dan. And I read his story a little bit and I just felt hope, church term, yes, but I felt hope. I got his book. I read it pretty quickly. I knew I had to get in contact with him, and I did. I had no idea that he was the Dan Barker, that he was the big man Dan Barker. I'd never heard of him before, ever. My mind didn't go in those circles,
Mm-hmm.
And he called and we chatted about a program called the Clergy Project that they were just starting up. It was something that he and Richard Dawkins and Linda Lascola and Dan Dennett had an idea. Actually, they had been concerned for pastors who were in a position like I was in, either struggling with their own faith and doubt, or who had actually moved on past that to agnosticism or atheism. He told me about it, and he's like, hey, I can hook you up. If you want to be a part of this, I can get you in, and you can go onto the forum. It's safe. You go on there with an anonymous name, set yourself up an anonymous email if you want to communicate, and you'll find that there's 50-ish pastors on there, and that's exactly what I did. I mean, and when I got on, I found some were former, some who had retired already and left the church, but were atheists. I became friends with them, became friends with several actives, and I was finally able to just sit down, even though I couldn't talk face to face or even voice to voice, but it was online. I could just really let it all out and say, it is, what was a big season? Oh, Advent, Christmas. Advent season. It's really a beautiful time, the Christmas, candlelight service and stuff. I still have fond memories of it, but it's really tough when you know you're getting ready to preach the Savior of the world has come to redeem mankind, and at this point I know that that's not who I am anymore. And I'm struggling, fighting to find a way to walk away from it. I'm working a second job, trying to pay off some credit cards and get us in a position to where we're not homeless if I walk away from my church. And people have criticized me and other pastors for staying in the pulpit. I think I was there for 5 months, 6 months before the American Atheist Convention. And I don't know. I can't say right or wrong. All I knew is I did what I thought was right at the time, which was not to bankrupt my family because of my own. I mean, I just didn't feel it was right to them.
You had a family to take care of. There's nothing bad about that.
Yeah, and I've responded before and said, if I got up there and started trying to be very subversive and lure people away and preach atheism and, from the holy text of Dawkins or whatever, I could understand it, but I didn't. Actually, I wouldn't say that I was even more accurate because I always took my job seriously, but I made double, triple, quadruple sure that what was going on in me wasn't bleeding through. I remember one particular Sunday. I don't remember what I preached on. I never remember those things. I got in the car and we were going home, and we're driving down the interstate in Tallahassee, and my husband said, "Oh my goodness, that was absolutely amazing. It was anointed." And I'm like, oh. He said, "No, you can't tell me that you don't believe." And I said, "Well, I don't. I've done this job for a long time. I've known this since I was a kid, and I know how to do my job." And it was just this awkward moment. I think maybe at that point he realized that I had gone way beyond the point of being redeemed, or I don't know, but yeah, I continued to do everything I could to be as good a pastor as those folks deserved. That's what they hired me for, and I wanted to follow through with it, but it was just a horrible time, and through the weirdest set of circumstances, and we can't say that it was divine providence. The weirdest set of circumstances, this wonderful couple that I knew in Tallahassee, secretly, they were a part of the Free Thought group in Tallahassee. I had reached out to this guy, found him online through CFI, and he just looked like a kind, nice person. So we made contact with him and got to be friends. Just absolutely terrific couple. And he told me about the Reason Rally and the American Atheist Convention. And he said, you've got to go. This is probably February. I was like, there's no way. It's Easter weekend, or I think it was Palm Sunday or Easter weekend. One can't be out, And so the next weekend I went with him to the CFI conference in Orlando and met some people I'd never heard of before. Really, really cool people. I met Dan Dennett. I met Elizabeth Cornwell. I met David Silverman. and Tom Flynn and Reba Wooden from CFI Indianapolis, just the neatest people. And I wasn't even using my name. I had my fake name on, you know. But as we sat around having drinks that night, I started sharing my story, and they just, I don't know, there was just this connection. Plus with Dan and Liz Cornwell being with, you know, Dawkins Foundation, they knew all about the Clergy Project. Of course, you know, they didn't know who I was. They're not on there, but through all of that and through all these little details I'm muddling through, Dave Silverman told me that if I could make it up there, he would comp my registration fees, attendance fees, etc. for the conference. Well, I made it up there and was thrilled. I met Sarah Moorhead, who I had kind of knew online through Jerry DeWitt, who was, you know, Clergy Project guy, and we were friends. I knew Dave, and I met just a few other people that I felt were safe, and was happy being in the shadows. But again, weird set of circumstances. I wind up on the stage being introduced as Clergy Project member who's still an active member of the clergy, and I get up there and open my big mouth and tell the whole world the truth. It gets picked up on the internet, of course. Some dummy me didn't think YouTube existed, and phones. Before I can even get home, family, friends, everybody is just shocked. And but I'm out, you know. I'm out. Not employed, but that's okay. I finally feel honest with myself. Really couldn't buzz around town much or anything because folks, Tallahassee, for being a big town, bigger town, biggish, is still a small town, and people knew me. And of course, the news carried it and ran with it. That was a big, huge story for them. But you know, it kind of got me out there a little bit, gave me a chance to go and start speaking, and eventually working with Dave Silverman and Amanda Knief and Nick and all the crew at American Atheists, and then, you know, coming on to Florida and working with the humanist group there. And then eventually I got connected with Greg Epstein and got into, he was telling me about a project he was doing to build humanist communities. It's basically, again, very general, so don't jump on me, but the best thing I could relate it to as a pastor was church planting in the humanist atheist sense. Now, again, that's really general because not everybody's going to have a Sunday assembly type church. People want different stuff, but that's the skill set that I was bringing to it. And I was just thrilled. It was like my dream job, you know.
Good. I was going to ask if that's where Sunday assembly kind of came from.
Mm-mm. No, Sanderson Jones, you know, I don't really know the story of how he actually went and did the Sunday assembly thing the first time in London. But I know he did it, and I remember in June during the AHA conference in San Diego, it was being talked about because the news had picked up in this story and called it Atheist Church. And I don't know if it's CNN or, you know, the Times or whomever, but I just don't even know how he got started with it. But when I was there and working, he and I got to talk a lot and became friends a bit. Shared some stories. I helped him out with a little bit of some of the more organizational side. He's a terrific entertainer, and it's a brilliant idea. And I just gave him some tips and tricks from someone who's been there before, and worked with a lot of other folks that called. It seemed like we had just an enormous amount of people who were really interested in developing community, not necessarily church or assembly or gathering or whatever word you want to put there, but definitely intentional bonding of free thinkers that are in the area, whether it be community center or whatever. So it was absolutely going just like gangbusters. So many people were interested. I was talking to so many people. I was actually feeling like I had found where I fit in the movement. Besides just telling my story, which only lasts you, a year or two, till everybody gets to know you, I actually felt I was just on top of the world. And then the rug got pulled out from under me. Now, I have to say that lots of people, family and friends who knew me before, have said that this was God's judgment on me. So,
Oh goodness.
yeah.
Damn.
It is really kind of crazy because I'm the one who did it. I mean, it wasn't God, Anyway, wet my whistle there a little bit. When I first came, and in order to talk about that part, I have to go way back. When I first came into the free thought movement, everybody kind of knew I was a Methodist pastor. They didn't know I'd transferred in from another denomination. Sometimes the political workings in the religious world get kind of complicated, and it's just like, do I have to share all these details again? So, and I was a pastor in my own right, so it was just not a real big deal. But folks equate that with a seminary degree. And I had attended school and Bible college and those types of things. And when I came into the Methodist Church, I had to take additional classes because they weren't approved Methodist courses. So I went to Duke and was in the process of doing something similar to a cohort program to finish that up. So I could talk about that. I can talk to you about professors that I had and papers that I wrote and things that I learned. But the problem with it is that people, and this is very early on, immediately associated those things with a degree, a seminary degree. And by the time I realized it, that's just what people thought. And I don't know, I still can't tell you why I didn't just say, whoa, wait a minute, Wesley. That's not correct. I attended, and I was working toward this, but I left before I finished. And in actuality, this is where I attended school. This was my process to be, licensed as a minister and then ordained. And I just didn't do it. I hate confrontation. Sometimes I'm a diplomat or try to find peacemaking solutions to my own demise. And this happened to be one of them. I was just chicken, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
and then,
it's an easier, simpler version of it than the full explanation. It's a couple words versus paragraphs.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's a blur, and that's what people assumed, and I would get introduced that way, and so I just started. I didn't do the right thing, and I didn't stop and say at any point, no, this is not right. I went with it. I used it. I put it in my bio, I put it on a resume, and it was wrong, and I still look at myself even right now, saying it, it's like, oh my God, are you talking about yourself? Really? Is that you? Are you crazy? But it's true. And, part of it, I could look back, like I said, to when I was 6 and all these messages of you're not worth anything, you're not valuable, you're not good enough. And yeah, that played a little part in it, I assume. Or at least that's kind of what my therapist likes to help me think, that may have played a part into why I didn't want to stand up and say, no, this is true. Because I was afraid of what people were going to think. I was afraid that they were going to think I wasn't good enough. And a lot of us have been there, but unfortunately I was there and I didn't fix it. And so, here in my dream job, doing what I felt like fit me perfectly in the movement and was needed in the movement, was very successful. My skills as a minister fit absolutely perfect. Just like tongue and groove with what I was doing at Harvard, and then all of a sudden it just was gone. It was horrible. When my boss called me in and told me what was happening and asked me about it, and I was like, you always have that brief flash, I guess, of, what the heck do I say? But mine had to have been minuscule because I just was like, yeah, that's true. I did it. It's horrible. I'm a terrible person. I can't believe it's me. I'm so sorry. I know it's hurt you in this program. I know it's going to hurt so many people that I've talked to and have heard my story. And of course, it's going to hurt me. And excuse me. And I just left there not knowing where I was going, what I was going to do. I went to the train station to wait on, the red line to take me back out to where we were staying, and thinking, oh God, I got to tell my husband, he's going to kill me, because I've just ruined it for all of us. He had retired. He had left his job and retired so that we could go to Boston and I could do this job. It was just, I wasn't going to get rich doing the job, but it was going to be enough to where he didn't have to work and he could retire. And so now I've ruined it. I have no job. We have his military retirement and his little disability check. And yeah, don't know where we're going to go. Don't know what we're going to do. And, I still haven't found a job yet. Which, I'm not saying all that to make, I don't want people to feel sorry for me, because I did it, and I am, I don't know church words, I'm reaping the consequences for what I did. And I understand that. I do. If I took myself out of the situation as an employer and Googled your name, Wesley, and saw, or Dustin, and saw all this crap on there, I'd be like, oh crap. Not only is she crazy atheist ex-preacher chick, she's a big fat stinking liar. Ain't hiring her.
I'd be afraid if people would Google me. They'd find some nasty shit.
Oh yeah, trust me. I Google I heard if it would happen, I'd apply for a job and then I'd go Google my name and I'd start searching through page after page after page after page. I was like, oh God, can I just get this stuff off here? But no, it's out there. It's out there. So be careful what you post online.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
That's Meredith.
Hi, Meredith.
So we left just a few days after that, as soon as we could get our stuff together and packed up. We left and we drove back. The only place I knew to go was where I grew up in North Alabama, and left being hated because I was an atheist, and I don't know if I handled it right to begin with or not. I owned up to it. I didn't want to run from it. So many will be caught, and they'll either try to deny it completely, try to cover it up, lie about it, further compound the lie by lying about it, or, just, you name it, it's been tried, rationalize it, whatever. I didn't want to do that. I knew it was wrong, and so I just wanted to straight up say it and get it all off my chest. And then I came back here and tried to really, tried to tough my way through it, but it didn't work. So I wound up, I just, cut off my phone, the computer, Facebook went away, and I just became a recluse for a number of months. I don't know what, 5-6 months.
You did a disappearing act for quite a while, yeah.
Yeah. I was just, part of it was I just couldn't face people. I couldn't, knowing what I knew and what I did, I just couldn't. I was so absolutely ashamed and so angry at myself, because I knew that people were going to say, see, look, you atheist, you are immoral. You are dirty, rotten, stinking heathens. And people did say that. And I knew that. And, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't upset for my own self as well, my own little pity party self. I was.
No, okay, if you look at, to be fair, if you look at across the spread of society, the number of people that gloss over things in their resumes, exaggerate things, simplify things, it's a lot. There's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, there are. However, they're not crazy public out there, big time atheist nut ladies, and it wasn't me. That would have been the thing too. Before it all happened, that would have been, oh, that happened to them, not to me. It would never happen to me. Well, yeah, it can. Given the right set of circumstances, it can. And I think that I was a bit arrogant in those kinds of thoughts, regardless of any of the reasons behind it. There's no excuse for it. There are reasons, but yeah, it's just that happened to me, and I never thought that would be any kind of thing that I would do. Most folks have been around me at conferences, or a lot of them, and I'm pretty straight-laced even now. It's hard for me to loosen up. That old indoctrination just doesn't go away real easy. And
I don't think I saw you drink anything harder than a coffee when I saw you.
Oh yeah, well, I've graduated. See, cheers. Yay. Actually, 1 glass of white wine now. Well, conferences, if you're an American Atheist in Austin, they drank the house dry. So yeah. But
I know in DC we did.
Oh yeah, and
we
I wasn't
even at the bar.
It was funny just jumping on that with you saying you hadn't had anything stronger than a coffee. After I came out and everybody wanted to talk to me, and then I went to the bar, cloud nine. It was just an ecstatic time for everybody. The conference ended with this huge just feeling of elation. So we go to the bar and we're hanging out and talking, and different people would come up and say, oh, let us buy you a drink, let's buy you a drink, what are you having? And I would say something. I knew the names of like 3, maybe 4 drinks. Honest, that's about it. Cosmo, Martini, Screwdriver, and that may be it, actually.
2 of those sound good.
Beer and wine. But I didn't know enough about wine to order something that wouldn't be like Manischewitz or something. So I ordered a Cosmo. And the person went to get a table or something, and I whispered to the waiter, make sure there's no alcohol in it. And they looked at me like, yeah, I don't make sure there's no alcohol. Well, I know what a Cosmo is now, and I know what it tastes like with alcohol. But yeah, I mean, just, it's funny and we laugh about it, but that's the kind of thing that, I'm not the only person who deals with that. Tara Moorhead over at Recovering from Religion, they're working on the Hotline Project, and they have Recovering from Religion chapters all over. I mean, just, as you'd say in the South, book-oodles of them, Don't ask me to spell it. I don't know how. But the same kinds of stories come out in those groups all the time. Just how it, it's a cute puppy dog, how it really shapes you into something that's really hard to break out of. Whether I'll ever be able to dance, nobody knows, really.
No,
I don't know that I'm going to try.
No. You're white, you can't dance. Just like both of us. Just like both of us, guys. You're white, you can't dance. It's a rule.
White women can dance.
Yeah, I've seen some white women dance, but I've seen some guys dance. But hey, you won't see me. It's true. When I was in the band at church, I played guitar and I played piano. Well, I was always behind one of those two, because then I didn't even have to worry about whether I was moving or, if I had to raise my hands or do anything like that. No, I have rhythm musically, but my body doesn't know what it's very much strict conservative. Yeah. I might, why Baptists don't dance, right? You ever heard the old joke?
Do tell.
Because it's like having sex standing up. And it's actually really not a joke. It's what I was told. Same reason you don't listen to perverse old rock and roll music, and you don't swim with boys, because the sight of my body, my little girl body, 10-year-old girl body might tempt somebody to lust in their heart after me. Yeah, I remember what I looked like when I was 10. Yeah,
Wow.
Well, there
yeah.
have been some articles lately about girls not being allowed to go to their proms and such because their bare shoulders or whatever would excite the guys that were actually monitoring the
Yes, uh-huh.
the
I read
dance.
that. Yeah, they must have grown up where I grew up. Um, it, it's almost an alien world in some sense, well, in a large sense, if you've never kind of gone through it, just the way that it's so deeply entrenched to where I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was going on. This was normal. This is the way it was. This is the way everybody was. This is life. So by the time you're old enough to actually start making logical, intelligent, young adult, teenage young adult type decisions, the process that you need to filter everything through is already just so hardened and molded into a certain way that it's really tough to try and work out of it. And I don't know how it happened for me. I really don't. Um, some have said, well, how did you get out of it? And others have said, you seem like a bright girl. Why did it take you so long? I don't know. Slow learner, I guess. Um, but it's whether you came out of any religious group like that or not. I think our stories are what connect us, and I think that's probably what endeared so many people to me after I came out was just the story, and trying to be honest about the story and what I had gone through and how I had grown up, especially after I got on and spoke at a few conferences and shared my story. They connected because they could see in me that I had gone through similar things, and the struggle, and then the acceptance, and then the coming out part. And I do the same thing when I hear people speak, and I connected with Dan Barker over the telephone, through a book and over the telephone. I think we have power in our stories, and I think we need to share our stories more. Um, I love the educational parts. I don't want to do away with them. I'm geeky nerdy when it comes to all that. Some of them talk, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I studied religion, not physics or cosmology, but I'm trying. But even with that, it's interesting, and I want to learn. I don't ever want to stop or squelch that part of me, but the stories really have something special.
Yeah.
I want to go back, way back here.
Okay,
Uh, you've heard of Marjo Gortner?
I think so.
He was
Sounds.
a little boy that was raised as a pastor by his parents when he was 4 or 5 years old.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it was 1975. He had put out a movie called Marjo, where he goes back and does like the one time only kind of show where he takes a documentary crew around, and he shows like behind the scenes. Just this is how we're gonna uh, take advantage of these people. This is how I'm gonna put invisible ink on my forehead, and it's gonna come out when I start sweating, and all this
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
all this horrible behind the scenes stuff. You know, hey, you've done the first half. You could totally do the second half now.
yeah, yeah.
Put on another, put on a fake name and take a career out there and see what happens.
I could
Just a
maybe.
thought.
It's a thought. I'll have to put that down in my little notebook of these are the things I'm thinking about. Maybe as I try to. I don't know if I'm reinventing myself, but no, I don't think. Because finally, over the last few years, I am comfortable with who I am, knowing this is me, this is what I believe, and I'm not going to fake it anymore. Yeah, I'm going to keep learning and growing and tweaking things as we all learn. But yeah, I'm not going to fake it or go back. It's just
You
trying to
know,
figure out how I can get back to that.
well, not on a permanent basis or anything, but um, what I was kind of as a Methodist, I'm sure you didn't have them, but as a Southern Baptist, did you have growing up like a tent revivals or brush arbors or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had them in our town. We had to have twice a year. We'd have a spring and a fall revival that would be all week long, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and some special hellfire and brimstone preacher would come in, and yeah, and it was an all-nighter too. It'd be like till midnight or later sometimes. But yeah, we had lots of that. Methodist,
Yeah.
we didn't do that in Methodist church now.
Yeah.
Not in ours anyway.
I was raised Southern Baptist, but it was still, mid California around Oakland and San Francisco, so it wasn't too bad out there. But it was
Oh
still
yeah, yeah, that's different.
interesting.
Yeah, you guys need to come and do a show on location here with me.
Oh, that'd be so
And
much fun.
yeah, Blair Scott's not too far away from me. We could probably
Yeah.
get him in on the show, and I'll drive you around. We'll get us a 4-wheel drive pickup truck.
Is there any other kind? Come on.
Yeah, we'll get us some pork skins and Bud Light, and we'll go for a ride.
Hell yeah.
Wait, I know how that works. I've heard the stories. You just want to tie us to the front bumper.
No, I want to be in the back with the dog.
Yeah, exactly. That's you gotta, 2, maybe 3. If you squeeze them all in the front, everybody else gets in the back and rides around. It's actually fun. I live right by the lake, so we could go out on the Sea-Doo and go wave runner. But yeah, you do a show on location, and I will give an inside look at what it's really like to be in this deep in the heart of the Bible Belt, the heart of Dixie, trying to be a non-believer. And it's interesting. I don't have to worry about coming out living here because I'm already out, but
Yeah.
I know there's lots of people here that don't dare speak of it because they got kids and jobs and families, and again, it's like me being in the pulpit when I knew I was no longer a believer. I can't judge them for that. I could hope that they come out. I could work and try to make it to where they can come out.
Yeah.
But I'm not in their shoes, so I'm not about to make a judgment on that. I know in the Clergy Project alone, so many men left the ministry, and their wives packed up and left them.
Damn.
Rich Lyons in Seattle.
Yeah.
His story is very similar to that. So I can't speak for that or judge somebody for that, but once you're, well, I won't say that, but being here, you see just how tough it can be. Everything is about Jesus. Everything. Not Catholic Jesus, but white
Protestant
Baptist Jesus. Yeah, no, white Baptist Jesus.
Oh, there's in particular there.
Fair skin, and yeah, it's interesting being back here and living here. I never thought I'd do it again, and never wanted to, but here I am. So, anyway, what else can I? Got any folks with questions? I've rambled. It seems like I've talked nonstop.
We've gotten some comments on YouTube. First one was Howdy Teresa, long time no see. That was from Nara Torres.
Hey, how are you?
And from Christine DeLees. Hey guys, hey Teresa, hey Nar. Hi Christine. And Troy said American Atheist in Austin was a blast.
Yeah.
And also that life is reinvention.
Yeah. There you go. That's what I'm doing. I'm reinventing. I don't know what it was.
You're like working on what about Teresa MacBain 4.0?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Pre-ministry, ministry, post-ministry, and now super awesome.
Yeah, post-stupidity. That'll be a good one.
Oh.
No, I know. I mean, I don't want to be hard on myself, but then I look around and it's like, ah, crap, you know. But yeah, I gotta get over that. So Super Awesome, is that the one that's going to be
Yes,
there?
that's the one you're on now. Yeah, the
Okay,
super
cool.
awesome phase.
No pressure, right? None whatsoever.
No, all the pressure. Tons of
Well, I mean, I'm working. I'm not gonna let it keep me down. I'm gonna do my damnedest to try and move past this. There may be an announcement pretty soon from a conference coming up that I'm going to be a speaker. We'll wait and let that just simmer around so you can keep, checking on your news feeds and such. Maybe a local group here or there or something. Who knows? At this point, I'm kind of just out there, but I do know that, or at least I feel that the work I was doing, regardless of what I had written down falsely on a piece of paper, the work was still valid. And the need for that work is a huge need, and that's what I want to do. And like I said, I'm going to try my hardest not to let this be the thing that when I die, I turn around and look back at this time of my life and go, oh, you idiot. Why didn't you just get up off your rear, dust yourself off, own up, and move forward? Why'd you let it knock you completely out? And that's where I was going with it. I mean, you guys know. I completely changed the locks, packed up, moved out, changed the locks, no forwarding address.
Yeah.
But I just, I looked at myself really hard. I dug down really deep, saw a therapist, did some really, really difficult work, and just decided, nope, I'm not that person. I'm not gonna go down without a fight. So here I am.
I'm very happy that you're still kicking.
Me too. Kicking. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, you really did drop off the face of the earth.
I did. I just
there. So welcome back.
Well, thank you. Yeah. It's so cool to see your faces, to talk to you guys. It's like, I wish everybody else that was online had their little faces, like they do on American Idol, everybody's little face just falling down, and I could say, hi, I know you. See, work on that tech for your next show. That's an idea there. You need a multi-million-dollar budget like American Idol, but
yes,
I'm sure somebody will call in a donation,
Yeah.
And
actually, for that, you don't call in. You go to our website and follow the links.
there you go. Sure. Pass the plate. Help these guys out. Yeah, they do. You guys. No, in all honesty, like I said, our stories have power, and shows like your show and so many more that are out there now give people a chance to talk, to see those of us who are out there, doing conferences or working in the movement. Give them a chance to kind of sit down and see us and ask questions and hear us tell silly stories and forget the point they were trying to make when they actually started talking and don't have any notes in front of them,
Well,
so yeah, it's really cool.
We're not all dirty atheists.
No? Man, somebody lied to me. Crap. Well, crap, I know. Don't you love I'm moving forward with my cursing. Crap.
Well, at least it's not cookies or something.
Oh man, you should do a poll. This would be really cool. When I was in, oh crap, and you want to know, see crap, I love that word now. You're going to want to know the year. I think it was 78. We were in Florida, I guess. I don't remember exactly where. But I had this girlfriend that I met at school, and we were hanging out. She lived down the road, and we were playing. And she had this cool phrase. I mean, when she would get frustrated or whatever, she would say, son of a biscuit eater.
Nice.
Oh, man, that is awesome. I can't say gosh, golly, gee whiz, darn, shucks, dang, dang it. So, son of a biscuit eater, what could be wrong with that? Well, later on that week, when I chose the appropriate time to use it, and I got a spanking for it, I decided that eating biscuits was probably not in my best interest. Or maybe not hanging out with the son of somebody who eats biscuits. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's just all these words that you're just not allowed to say because you had curse words, then not quite curse words, but curse words, and then taking God's name in vain because you're saying geez or gee willikers or, oh, I don't know. Like I said, take a poll. I'm sure that half the listeners right there are laughing, going, yeah, that's right, I forgot about that. Yeah.
All those cute little things that you got soap in the mouth or spanked for. At least I did.
I got spanked. We couldn't even
I
say
got
a
'em
woman
both.
was pregnant. We had to say a woman was in the family way.
Really? She didn't just disappear?
Yep. No, she was in the family way. We couldn't say pregnant. Well, I don't know. If I sat here, I could make you laugh with lots more, but I won't bore you.
We got a couple more comments here.
Okay, go for it.
From Christine, and Rocco, I think, is wanting to get one in, but I'll try to keep him from doing that. From Christine, if you all do something on location here, I'd be there. I'm right here with you all right here with you in the heart of fucking Dixie.
Woo! Message me on Facebook. Let's get together.
I think the South should probably always be called fucking Dixie.
I think we should have the American Atheist Convention in Birmingham. Yeah, Memphis is going to be close enough. Anyway, yeah, send me a Facebook message or something. Let's see if we're at least close. I'd love to have a cup of coffee or something and at least see face to face somebody. That would be cool.
So I'm going to do some rapid fire questions.
Got a couple more before you do.
Oh, okay.
From Joe, we've got, hey, you guys reading the comments during the show? Yes, obviously. Yeah. If so, Teresa, how are you being treated out there in Alabama?
Well, I'm just kind of out here by myself. People are nice enough, We live out in the country right now, so it's somewhat safe for me. If I want to go to town, it's 20 minutes, to Walmart, and so I don't have any interaction with anybody besides my family and my little doggy and my cat at this point. We go to the store down the street. People obviously they don't know who I am or who I was, which is cool. So they'll talk to us at the little cafe, but I've tried to connect with a few people from high school or growing up or just that I knew, and either dead silence or we know what you did. So feeds that whole isolation thing for me there. Mm-hmm. But that's why everybody is really that's my friends, people I know either from conferences or just Facebook friends, Twitter, wherever, really have been awesome because they're family and they will message me or send me a post or whatever and just say, hey, how are you doing? We really think a lot about you and we know we know what happened. We were very shocked and couldn't believe our ears. However, we love you. We care for you. You're our friend. And they would encourage me, and that's really, really cool. Do I miss being in a place that's close enough for me to go to a atheist meetup or a humanist group or whatever? Yeah, I would love to, but it's just not happened. There's one about an hour and 15 minutes north of me in Huntsville, and I should have gone up there by now, but I just haven't, My plan is to go this month. That is my job with my therapist has told me that I have to go, and I'm seeing him the very next week, so I'll have to report.
That's right.
Which that means I'll actually do it because somebody's going to check up on me.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, hey,
Christine is already your Facebook friend, and she's in Birmingham.
Absolutely awesome.
you could always make your own meetup group.
Yeah, I know that's true. That I could.
We'll be checking up on you, so you have a month to do it.
Oh man, crap! See, crap! You made me say it again. Crap, crap, crap. Shit.
Oh no.
Y'all are gonna make me say shit one day, I tell you.
No, it wasn't shit we're trying to get out of you. It's fuck.
Oh no, yeah, that one's a hard one to come by for me. That's just
Come on, just once.
no. I
Give
just
it a good one.
can't.
Come
I just
on.
can't do it. I don't know
All right,
why.
Jeez.
There's this
Southern-
part of my brain, it stops. It's like, whoa, I can't do it. I could text
Try to
you.
really
Would that
southern it
work?
up.
Pardon?
Southern it up a bit. Like, y'all better fucking something really super duper southern. Then you might be able to get it out.
Nah. It sounds too
Or
forced.
we could just move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
we
right.
can move on.
All right, Teresa. I lost my original 10 questions, but you're gonna get the ones from the Actors Studio, or at least a few of them. So
Okay.
these are just kind of rapid fire questions. Answer them, and I'll just go on to the next.
Okay.
So, what turns you on?
Oh my, are we just going right there?
Yep. Skip to number
Candlelight
4.
wine and roses.
Wine and roses. All right.
And
what turns-
chocolate. Chocolate. Gotta have
and
chocolate.
chocolate.
Yeah.
All right. What turns you off?
Not picking up after yourself, dirty dishes, and not cutting the grass.
Oh, wow.
My husband's gonna listen to this. I'm gonna be dead. Okay, let me change that one. Not thinking for yourself, letting someone else think for you. So and so, it has to be true because so and so said it. Whether that be Billy Graham or Richard Dawkins, think for yourself.
All right. What's your favorite word?
Crap.
All right.
We did get from the audience that you said fucking with me earlier.
Did I?
I think I do remember that.
You'll have to look at that. I thought I said screwing. Maybe I did. If I did, it's a first, and you guys got it on tape.
Yay!
If you'll send it to me in an audio, anytime somebody asks me to say it again, I'll just go play it, you know.
That'll be my new ringtone. All right.
All right, so what turns me off? Trying to get me to say the F word.
Oh,
Fart. Fart. There, I said it.
fart.
I'm
Okay,
teasing.
okay.
Don't take me
So-
seriously. I'm a joker. Go ahead, next question.
All right. So I'm guessing what's your favorite curse word?
My favorite curse word actually is damn.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, damn it, especially driving, you know.
Do you ever go full blasphemous on that?
If I'm by myself driving around here especially, and it's a tractor or something, and I'm trying to get somewhere, which I always drive fast, that's just, I have a little fast car and I drive fast, and I come up around the corner and there's somebody on a tractor or in a pickup truck driving 25, it's like, oh, you know, God, dumbass, move it, and then it just gets worse from there. Yeah, that I would definitely say the biggest potty mouth time for me is my impatience in driving. Yeah.
So what sound do you love?
What sound do I love?
Yeah.
I don't know. I never thought of that one. Music in general. My cat purring. Silence. There you go. The sound of silence.
All right. What kind of sounds do you hate?
Oh, I hate people when they either scrape their knife cutting food on a plate or their fork, or they take a bite and their teeth touch their fork or spoon. Oh, that will make me cuss. I promise you that will do it. Don't go get anything now. No, yeah,
Okay, so
those are sounds I hate.
you don't like hearing silverware.
Right, exactly.
That
When it
is a
scrapes.
horrible sound hearing utensils scrape on a plate, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it just, yeah, drives me crazy.
All right, I'm gonna go for the gold here.
Okay.
If heaven does exist, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, God, that's a great question. Uh, Dang, only you could come up with that, too. See,
Yeah,
I gave you another
totally.
one. Dang, right there. Um, Told you so? I don't know. Um,
Oh.
Oh.
yeah, I mean, if it does exist, I'm afraid that I might hear curse words based upon my behavior. I don't know. Um,
Oh, I
I
love
doubt that very seriously. So yeah,
it.
I'll have to remember that one. That's good.
Oh, that's straight off the actor inside the actor's studio
Oh yeah,
with James Lipton.
you were gonna trick me up and hope I was gonna say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Enter into thine reward." Yeah, but I'm a girl, so that would mean washing dishes. So yeah, no, I'll skip on that one. Um, I know, I'm snarky. I like that word too. Snarky is cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Snarky and sarcastic. Those are my two favorites.
Mhm.
Or at least I touch on them as often as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're starting to run out of time here.
Yeah, really? Wesley has no more questions.
Oh, I got lots, but I
Oh,
don't want
let's
them to
see. I got one for
blush.
you. I got one for you.
Oh,
All right. So you die, and you go to hell, and Satan is standing there with his little pitchfork. What words do you want to hear from him, her, it?
you go, boy.
You're better at this than I am.
Hey, come on. That's where all the cool people are going to be. Why
Yeah.
would Satan punish you? You're one of his boys.
What I
Exactly.
want to hear would be welcome to the party.
Pretty
Welcome to the party.
much.
The
Yeah.
beer is over there.
Seventh circle of hell. Yeah, yeah, uh-huh. Exactly.
Now, to
There's
make it hell, it'd probably all
there's
be
an eight
IPA.
ball of
But
Coke on that hooker's ass right over there. You just start snorting.
oh, Wesley.
You guys are crazy, crazy.
Uh,
Yeah?
uh,
You have to give me a book that says, okay, let's educate you. This book is full of names of drinks. You need to learn these. And so you can, and I've grown. I know more than four now.
okay.
And I actually like several of them. So, and I actually can order a glass of wine and sound like I know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You can never go wrong with a White Russian.
Yeah, and I see my husband loves those. I could drink too many because they taste like chocolate milk.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Just delish.
So much better than sweet tea.
No, 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 no. Uh-uh. That is one thing I'm glad about. I'm in Jersey. I'm in Massachusetts. You don't order sweet tea. They bring you a packet of Sweet and Low to put in your tea. I mean, that is a sin.
No,
Seriously.
no, sweet tea. Your spoon has to stand up in it.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Exactly. Now, I can make some sweet tea. That is one thing I'm very skilled at. Um, Definitely.
Meredith is over here extolling the virtues of sweet tea.
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea.
Sweet tea. She ain't from around here because we don't say it that way. It's sweet tea. It's tea. Tea. Got to get it just right. It's tea.
You don't kind of tea. Sweet tea.
No, it's tea.
All right.
Tea.
Tea. All right.
It's tea. It's like you change the oil in your car. It's a car. Actually, it's a pickup truck. If you drive a car around here, you look funny. Let me tell you, I got a Volkswagen Passat. I got a
yeah, you're looking
Volkswagen,
funny.
and it's a Passat. It's got a turbocharger. That thing will get up and go. Let me tell you what. But no, it ain't diesel. What the hell are you talking about? It's gasoline. Damn it. Pickup trucks is diesel. Cars ain't diesel.
My Jet is diesel.
Well, I actually wish I had a diesel, but man, if I wanted to be accepted, I'd get me a 4x4 Chevy or Ford pickup truck, but Chevy preferably. Jack
What?
that baby up. Put some big old mud tires on there. You know, KC lights.
Okay.
A winch to pull me out of the mud when I get stuck up in there all the way to the door. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's
I can picture you behind the wheel of a what about 1978 Chevy K10
pickup truck.
with the 44-inch mutters.
Or like an early '80s Blazer.
You know, I would get the thing buried up. It would just completely disappear. It would be so bad. I'd try to go through the middle of that thing and
I want to see. I want to
burial
see
in
you
the
in like an
mud.
early '80s Blazer with the doors taken off.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and camouflage and
Mm-hmm.
Just
baseball
primer.
cap.
Just primer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be my next Facebook photo. Yeah.
Joe says that what God would say to you if you got to heaven is, Teresa, it's time for a spanking.
That's hilarious. And I would say, hell no.
Wow.
I had my share of spankings, thank you much. Actually, we didn't get spankings, we got whoopings.
Mm.
See? Gotta speak the language, whoopings.
Mm.
Which meant you got the hell beat out of you. Exactly, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he tried.
Yeah. Didn't work. Didn't stick.
One of my cats just sneezed. Hmm. Anyways, man,
Yeah.
we need to do this more than once every 2 years or so.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. I'll make some sweet tea and cornbread, send it your way. We'll just all sit down with some cornbread and butter and lots of butter.
You get some cornbread, some green chilies, and bacon in there. I'll be there.
Yeah, I can do that.
Mm.
I can't fry chicken though. That's a disappointment to many. I don't do fried foods, so yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. I ate so much of it growing up. I just haven't since we left home and I started eating food from other countries, different cuisine. I lost the taste for a lot of Southern cooking,
Mm.
except collard greens.
Okay.
Now that's
Collard mustard. Mm.
with ham hock and
Oh yeah, I love me some ham hocks.
So y'all are going to be doing a show here. I know I can see it already. I'm going to be in the kitchen cooking the whole time.
Yeah, totally. We should do a Kickstarter and go down to Alabama. Fuck.
Oh yeah.
Furthest south I've ever been is Kansas.
Dang. Yeah.
Huh. I spent a week and a half in Montgomery.
Oh yeah.
Why would you? Okay, never mind.
It was cadet officer school. I was in Civil Air Patrol.
I was going to say you had to be doing something with the Air Force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had us over on Gunter.
Yeah, I've been there. Around there.
Alright, guys.
Well, Christine has contacted me on Facebook, so yay, I'm going to connect with her. That'll be awesome. I'll give you a report next time we talk. I'll tell you how we went out. We'll have to go for drinks, though, Christine, because there are no bars in Coleman. There is just the dry county, so we'll have to go out for a drink. It's so crazy. You're not even paying attention to me. Jeez, what kind of host are you? Oh my God.
What? I'm trying.
You are going to edit this part out, right?
No. Jake, get down. All right.
No, listeners, I am not drunk. I promise. Aw.
So that's Jake.
Hello, kitty kitty.
Hey, buddy.
Mommy doesn't trust me.
Come on, Walls. Hurry up. All right, come on, buddy. Oh, thank you, baby.
He's so mad at me.
And
So we're still live, right?
Yes.
And I'm here with you
Totally.
crazy guys and the cat.
yep, with my cats.
Yeah.
This is my boy right here. This is Wally.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
these
a good
guys
boy.
are crazy.
Yeah.
They've kidnapped me. Somebody please help me. I don't know who they are.
All right.
This has been a blast, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Time
no.
to move on. You need to have some dinner, Teresa.
Yeah,
And
I do.
we're gonna go out for drinks with our group. So
Oh,
Well,
nice.
cheers for me.
I shall tell them hi.
Yeah. Lauren
Yeah,
just got.
tell everybody, both you guys, tell everybody hi, and that I miss them, and hopefully we'll see each other on the road sometime soon.
Real soon.
Ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. It has
Yeah.
been a ton of fun, honestly, a blast. I know it would be.
To end the hangout, I'm going to do a fade out.
Oh
And
my.
since we're all vaping, we
Oh,
can
yeah?
all do this fade out.
Okay.
Take a big old draw, and then blow it all on the camera.
Mm-hmm. Oh, mine was faster than yours. Hold on.
Oh shit! What the hell is wrong with this? This was blowing clouds earlier.
Dude, you suck at that. That's terrible. That's your rebuildable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even using a mod, and I'm blowing better smoke than both of you.
Hmm.
There we go.
Turn mine up, it'll blow better. Yeah. That's pretty cool.